They're feared, worshipped, and crowned the kings of the jungle. But what if lions aren't rulers at all? What if the truth is wilder, darker, and more complex than legend ever told? Step into the real world of lions. You won't see them the same way again. So, sit back, relax, and let the story of the lion's wild world lull you into a peaceful sleep. The lion, one of the most iconic and powerful animals in the animal kingdom, has fascinated humans for millennia. Revered in ancient cultures, feared by early hunters, and celebrated in folklore, art, and modern media, the lion commands a unique place in both the natural world and the human imagination. Found predominantly in sub-Saharan Africa, with a small and critically endangered population in the Gir forest of India, lions have become a symbol of strength, courage, nobility, and dominance. Lions belong to the genus Panthera, making them closely related to other big cats like tigers, leopards, and jaguars. Their scientific name is Panthera leo. Adult male lions typically weigh between 330 and 570 pounds, while females are smaller, averaging between 260 and 400 pounds. Males also grow large manes, which vary in color from blonde to black, and are thought to serve as both a protection during fights and a visual indicator of health and virility. Females, known as lionesses, do not have manes and are the primary hunters within the pride. Lions are social animals, unlike most other big cats, which are largely solitary. They live in groups called prides, which can consist of up to 40 members, though the average is closer to 10 to 15. A pride usually includes a few adult males, a larger number of related females, and their cubs. The males defend the pride's territory from intruders, while the females cooperate in hunting and rearing the young. This social structure provides safety, improves hunting efficiency, and helps ensure the survival of the pride's offspring. Despite their reputation as apex predators, lions do not always have an easy time surviving in the wild. Their diet consists primarily of large herbivores, such as zebras, wildebeests, buffalo, and antelopes, though they'll also scavenge from other predators and eat smaller prey when necessary. Hunting typically takes place at night or during the cooler hours of the early morning and evening. Lionesses coordinate ambushes, often using the cover of grass and terrain to get as close to the prey as possible before launching an attack. While powerful and fast, in short bursts, lions are not built for endurance, so a failed hunt often means going hungry until the next opportunity arises. Cubs are born after a gestation period of about 110 days, usually in litters of 2 to 4. Lionesses will separate from the pride to give birth and remain in seclusion for about 6 to 8 weeks, hiding the cubs from predators and even other lions. During this vulnerable time, the mother is the sole provider, and the mortality rate among cubs can be quite high. When the lioness rejoins the pride, the cubs are introduced to other members. However, if a new male takes over the pride, he may kill existing cubs to bring the females back into estrus more quickly, enabling him to sire his own offspring. The lifespan of a lion in the wild ranges from 8 to 15 years, though in captivity, they can live longer, sometimes reaching 20 years or more. Life for male lions is particularly perilous. They often fight other males to gain or maintain control of a pride, and injuries from these battles, along with eventual expulsion by younger, stronger males, mean that few males survive more than a few years after achieving dominance. Females tend to have more stable and cooperative relationships, often remaining in the same pride for life. Lions communicate using a variety of methods: visual cues, scent marking, and vocalizations. One of the most iconic sounds in the animal kingdom is the lion's roar. A lion's roar can be heard from up to 5 miles away and serves multiple purposes. It can assert dominance, warn intruders, coordinate with pride members, or attract a mate. The structure of a lion's vocal cords is what allows them to produce such a deep and powerful sound. One of the most widespread misconceptions about lions is that they live in jungles. This likely stems from literary and cultural portrayals, rather than actual ecological understanding. Lions predominantly inhabit savannas, grasslands, and open woodlands, environments where they can take advantage of their physical prowess and social coordination to hunt effectively. The idea of lions as kings of the jungle is thus a misnomer, as they are rarely, if ever, found in true jungle environments. So, why are they called the king of the jungle? This title likely has more to do with symbolic representation than geographic accuracy. Lions have long been emblematic of strength, majesty, and rulership. In many cultures, they are portrayed as regal, dominant creatures at the top of the food chain. Statues of lions guard the gates of palaces and temples across Asia, Europe, and Africa. Ancient civilizations, like the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans, associated lions with gods and royalty. In medieval Europe, lions became a common feature on coats of arms, symbolizing courage, nobility, and kingship. However, the term king of the jungle can also be misleading in terms of behavior. While lions are indeed apex predators, they are not invincible. They face threats from hyenas, who can gang up to steal kills, from crocodiles when crossing rivers, and even from elephants or buffalo when territorial boundaries are crossed. Additionally, lions do not always win in fights with other big cats or packs of predators. Their rule, so to speak, is not without challenge. Another aspect to consider is that life in the wild is far from fun for a lion. Despite their majestic image, lions live a life full of hardship, competition, and constant struggle for survival. Hunger, injuries, disease, and the ever-present threat of rivals or human encroachment make lion life incredibly difficult. Males are constantly challenged by younger competitors seeking to take over the pride. This often leads to brutal fights that can end in severe injury or death. For cubs, survival is never guaranteed. Only about 1 in 4 will make it to adulthood. Females must work tirelessly to provide food, care for their young, and defend against predators or other prides. Human activity has also increasingly encroached on lion territory. Habitat loss due to agriculture and urban development, as well as conflicts with livestock farmers, have severely impacted lion populations. Trophy hunting, although controversial and regulated in some regions, has also contributed to the decline. Poaching and illegal wildlife trade pose additional risks. Today, the African lion is listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, with certain regional populations considered endangered. Conservation efforts are underway to try to preserve and protect lion populations. These include establishing and maintaining protected areas and wildlife corridors, supporting community-based conservation programs, implementing anti-poaching initiatives, and conducting scientific research. Ecotourism has also played a significant role. When managed responsibly, it provides economic incentives for local communities to protect lions and their habitats. Lions have also captivated human imagination in entertainment, art, and literature. From ancient cave paintings to modern films like The Lion King, they are often portrayed as noble, wise, and brave. While such depictions can help generate interest and empathy for their conservation, they can also contribute to misunderstandings about lion behavior and ecology. In reality, lions are not moral beings. They do not operate by human codes of ethics. Their actions are dictated by instincts, environmental pressures, and the complex web of interspecies relationships that define the wild. There's a raw and brutal beauty to the life of a lion. A male patrolling his territory at dusk, silhouetted against a burning sky, a pride of lionesses coordinating silently before a hunt, a mother nuzzling her cubs in the grass. These moments, fleeting and real, reveal the truth of the animal world, one governed not by fairy tale hierarchies or symbolic titles, but by survival, adaptation, and the interplay of predator and prey. Lions also play a crucial role in their ecosystems. As apex predators, they help maintain the balance of animal populations, which in turn affects the health of grasslands and savannas. For example, by preying on herbivores like wildebeests and zebras, lions indirectly influence the distribution and density of vegetation. This top-down effect, known as a trophic cascade, demonstrates the ecological importance of preserving predator populations. Interestingly, lions are not always the most successful hunters. Their success rate varies widely, often ranging between 15% to 30%, depending on the terrain, prey species, and conditions. Cooperation increases their chances. Teams of lionesses can bring down large prey much more effectively than solitary hunters. Even so, competition with other carnivores like hyenas, leopards, and wild dogs means that food must be consumed quickly or vigilantly defended. Lions exhibit a range of behaviors that are still being studied in the wild. They spend a large portion of their day, up to 20 hours, resting or sleeping, especially during the hottest parts of the day. Activity ramps up in the late afternoon and early evening. This behavior conserves energy for the demands of hunting and territory defense. Lions also engage in social bonding activities, such as grooming, head rubbing, and play, which help reinforce social cohesion within the pride. Genetically, lions are closely related to other members of the Panthera genus, with the tiger, Panthera tigris, being their closest relative. Fossil evidence suggests that lions once had a much wider range, spanning parts of Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The now extinct cave lion, Panthera leospalea, once roamed large parts of Eurasia during the Pleistocene epoch. These ancient lions were even larger than today's African lions and played a significant role in early human mythology and survival. In modern times, the Asiatic lion, a subspecies found only in India's Gir forest, is critically endangered, with just over 600 individuals remaining in the wild. These lions differ slightly from their African counterparts. They are generally smaller, have shorter, less developed manes, and often display a characteristic skin fold along their bellies. Conservation efforts in India have helped stabilize the population. But threats like disease outbreaks and habitat fragmentation remain serious concerns. Lions are undeniably one of nature's most extraordinary creatures, not just for their strength and beauty, but for their role in the larger story of life on Earth. They are both feared and admired, romanticized and misunderstood. Their roar still echoes across the plains, a living symbol of the wild places that are rapidly disappearing. Understanding them, truly understanding them, beyond the myths and titles, requires seeing them as they are: complex, vulnerable, adaptive, and deeply connected to the ecosystems they inhabit. As we delve deeper into the world of lions, it's important to understand the finer details of their biology and behavior, those subtle nuances that give us a clearer picture of how these majestic animals function in the wild. Let's explore the lion's sensory capabilities, body language, and even its lesser-known emotional and psychological traits that influence survival and social dynamics within the pride. Lions rely heavily on their senses for both hunting and social interaction. Their eyesight is particularly well adapted for nocturnal activity. While they don't have color vision like humans, their eyes contain a high concentration of rod cells, which are sensitive to low light. They also possess a reflective layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum, which enhances their night vision. This is why their eyes appear to glow in the dark and how they can navigate and hunt efficiently under moonlight or starlight. Their sense of smell is also highly developed. Lions use scent for more than just locating food. They use it to identify other lions, determine sexual readiness, and mark their territory. Male lions often spray urine along the borders of their territory, leaving behind chemical signals that warn rival males of their presence. Scent is also involved in social cohesion. Lions will frequently smell each other's faces and genital areas as a way to gather information. Hearing, too, is keen in lions. They can detect frequencies far higher than the human ear can perceive, allowing them to pick up on subtle sounds of prey moving through grass or rustling in the distance. Vocalizations play a major role in lion life. Aside from the famous roar, lions communicate through a variety of sounds, including grunts, growls, meows, and moaning calls. Each vocalization carries a specific meaning, whether it's a mother calling her cubs, a lioness signaling to a mate, or a male lion asserting dominance. When it comes to body language, lions are expressive animals. A raised tail, flattened ears, or a slow, deliberate walk can signal various emotional states: curiosity, aggression, submission, or alertness. During encounters with other prides or unknown individuals, posturing becomes important. Males will puff out their chests, raise their manes, and make themselves appear larger to intimidate opponents. In contrast, submissive lions may crouch, avert their gaze, or expose their bellies to diffuse tension. While lions are not capable of emotion in the human sense, they do display what appears to be affection, mourning, and social loyalty. Lionesses often engage in allo-grooming, mutual grooming that strengthens social bonds. Mothers are fiercely protective of their cubs and will risk their lives to defend them from threats. In rare cases, pride members have been observed staying near a deceased cub or injured lion, showing behaviors that some scientists cautiously interpret as rudimentary mourning. Male lions have a fascinating and complex life cycle, shaped by intense competition and reproductive urgency. Males are typically forced to leave their natal pride around 2 to 3 years of age. These young males will then form coalitions, often with their brothers or cousins, and spend several years as nomads, learning to hunt on their own, avoiding established pride males, and biding their time. Eventually, when they are strong and experienced enough, they attempt to take over an existing pride by challenging the resident males. Coalition takeovers are dramatic and violent, often resulting in the death of rival males and infanticide of existing cubs. While brutal, this behavior ensures the new males pass on their genes quickly, as lionesses will enter estrus again shortly after losing their young. The social fabric of a pride can be surprisingly stable, especially among the lionesses. Female lions within a pride are almost always related, sisters, mothers, daughters, and they tend to stay in the same group for life. They collaborate in raising cubs, often synchronizing births, so that cubs can be suckled communally. This strategy increases the chances of survival for the cubs and strengthens the unity of the pride. Females share food and responsibilities, and they defend their territory with as much vigor as the males when the pride is under threat. However, lion life is never static. Prides expand and contract over time, depending on food availability, environmental pressures, and generational turnover. Droughts, disease outbreaks, or loss of habitat can decimate populations or force lions into new areas where they encounter rival groups. The ecosystem lions inhabit is always in flux, and their ability to adapt is what ensures their continued presence in the wild. One of the least understood aspects of lion behavior is their relationship with water. Lions are not naturally drawn to aquatic environments like tigers are, but they will cross rivers or wade through shallow water if needed. During dry seasons, access to water becomes a central factor in territorial disputes and pride movement. Lions may congregate near waterholes, competing with elephants, hippos, and crocodiles for access. In some regions, lions have learned to anticipate where prey will come to drink, turning waterholes into strategic hunting grounds. Contrary to the myth that male lions are lazy and contribute little to the pride, recent research has shown that males play a more active role in protection and even occasionally in hunting than previously thought. While it is true that lionesses do the majority of the hunting, especially during coordinated hunts, males will assist when tackling particularly large or dangerous prey, such as buffalo or giraffes. Moreover, the presence of strong males is crucial for maintaining pride stability. Their role as guardians is essential, not just against rival males, but also against hyenas, leopards, and even humans. Speaking of humans, the historical relationship between lion and people is long, complex, and often contradictory. In ancient Mesopotamia, lions were symbols of kingship and divine authority. They appeared in carvings, stories, and even gladiatorial contests. Babylonian kings hunted lions as a demonstration of power. In Africa, lions were often regarded with both fear and reverence, integrated into tribal myths and religious beliefs. In some cultures, they are seen as spiritual guides or ancestors. Even in modern times, lions remain deeply symbolic, appearing on flags, emblems, sports team logos, and currency. But this reverence has not always translated into protection. Human expansion into lion habitats has resulted in significant habitat fragmentation. As agriculture spreads and human settlements grow, the space available for lions shrinks. This leads to increased conflict between lions and people, particularly pastoralist communities whose livestock become easy targets for hungry predators. In retaliation, lions are often killed, sometimes legally, sometimes not. These conflicts are among the greatest threats lions face today. Efforts to mitigate human-lion conflict have included the use of bomas, reinforced livestock enclosures, better compensation programs for herders, and education campaigns aimed at teaching coexistence strategies. Conservation groups have also pioneered the use of lion tracking collars to to monitor movement patterns and alert communities when lions approach populated areas. Tourism, particularly safari tourism in Africa, has proven to be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it generates revenue that can fund conservation and provide local jobs. On the other, it can disturb natural behaviors if not managed responsibly. There's also a darker side to lion-human interaction, the captive lion industry. In some parts of Africa, lions are bred in captivity for petting attractions, canned hunting, or the bone trade, a practice where lion bones are sold as substitutes for tiger parts in traditional medicine markets. This brings up ethical questions about how we, as a global society, value wild animals. Are lions merely symbols and economic resources, or are they beings with intrinsic value that deserve space and freedom to live as they were evolved to? Increasingly, the conservation world is shifting toward community-based models, efforts that empower local people to become stewards of the land and its wildlife, rather than seeing conservation as something imposed from the outside. Research into lion genetics is also contributing to conservation. By studying genetic diversity within and across lion populations, scientists can identify isolated gene pools and recommend strategies for connecting them. Maintaining genetic diversity is crucial for resilience against disease, changing environments, and long-term survival. Some conservationists are advocating for rewilding programs, translocating lions to areas where they once roamed, but have since disappeared. These efforts must be done with great care to avoid upsetting existing ecosystems or introducing new conflicts. The story of lions is not just one of biology, but of culture, politics, and philosophy. They sit at the crossroads of mythology and reality, of science and symbol. They are among the last of the great land predators to walk the earth, and their survival is closely tied to our own capacity for empathy, foresight, and responsibility. In captivity, lions present a very different picture. While zoos and sanctuaries can play a role in education and sometimes even conservation, many captive lions live under conditions that are far removed from their natural needs. Small enclosures, lack of stimulation, and poor diets can lead to physical and psychological stress. Stereotypic behaviors, like pacing or excessive grooming, are often signs of distress. Accredited zoos strive to provide enrichment and social groupings, but no enclosure can fully replicate the dynamic and dangerous world of the African plains. Nonetheless, some captive lions serve as ambassadors, helping to inspire a connection in people who may never have the chance to see a lion in the wild. For children especially, seeing a lion up close can spark curiosity and a lifelong interest in wildlife. The challenge is to ensure that this interest translates into action. Support for conservation programs, responsible tourism, and advocacy for wild habitats. Technology is playing a growing role in lion conservation. Camera traps, satellite tracking, and drone surveillance help scientists monitor populations with greater precision. Artificial intelligence is being used to analyze thousands of images and detect individual lions based on their whisker patterns, a kind of biometric fingerprint unique to each individual. This allows for more accurate population estimates and better tracking of lion movements, especially in areas where direct observation is difficult. In recent years, there's been growing international pressure to ban trophy hunting and close captive breeding facilities. While proponents argue that trophy hunting brings revenue to conservation areas, critics highlight that the ecological cost and the message it sends is too high. Many countries have moved to ban the import of lion trophies, and global sentiment continues to shift toward greater protection. Looking to the future, the fate of lions will depend not just on Africa or India, but on all of us. Climate change, for example, poses a new set of challenges. Rising temperatures and changing rainfall patterns can alter prey availability and disrupt migration patterns. Droughts can decimate water sources and lead to more frequent and intense human-wildlife conflicts. As apex predators, lions are barometers of ecosystem health. Their decline signals deeper problems that could eventually affect entire landscapes. Education will be key in securing a future for lions. Public awareness campaigns, school programs, documentaries, and storytelling, like this video, can help bridge the gap between distant wildlife and everyday lives. It's about moving beyond admiration and into stewardship. If we truly believe that lions deserve their place in the world, not as symbols, not as trophies, but as living, breathing parts of nature, then our actions must reflect that belief. The lion's roar may echo across the savannah, but its future will be decided in boardrooms, communities, classrooms, and living rooms. It will be decided by policies, by science, and most of all, by people who care enough to make a difference. The lion's impact on its environment, its role in culture, and its continuing struggle for survival in a rapidly changing world make it more than just a symbol of wild power. It is a case study in resilience, interconnection, and the consequences of human decisions. To fully appreciate lions, we must zoom out even further and explore the rich web of interactions that shape their lives. From the prey species they depend on to the predators and competitors they must contend with. We must also explore the lion's place within ecosystems and the delicate balance that holds everything together. In the vast savannas and grasslands of Africa, lions coexist with an astonishing diversity of animals. Their main prey includes zebras, wildebeests, impalas, buffalo, and giraffes. These herbivores themselves are part of dynamic migration cycles, particularly in places like the Serengeti, where seasonal rains trigger massive movements of animals across the plains. Lions must adapt their movements to follow these migrations or be content with more sedentary prey left behind. The lion's strategy is opportunistic. It selects prey based on vulnerability, not necessarily size. Old, sick, injured, or very young animals are far more likely to be targeted than strong, healthy ones. This ecological role makes lions essential for population control. Without large predators like lions, herbivore numbers could explode, leading to overgrazing and habitat degradation. This kind of disruption has been observed in ecosystems where top predators have been removed. In a healthy system, predators, prey, plants, and even smaller carnivores are all part of a finely tuned balance. The presence of lions ensures that only the fittest herbivores survive and reproduce, contributing to the overall health of the gene pool. Lions also shape the behavior of other predators and scavengers. Spotted hyenas, often painted as villains in pop culture, are among the lion's most formidable competitors. These highly intelligent and social animals live in clans that can exceed 80 individuals. Hyenas and lions often clash over kills, and the balance of power can shift depending on numbers and circumstances. A large group of hyenas can harass and even drive lions off a carcass, especially if only lionesses are present. However, when male lions are involved, hyenas are more likely to keep their distance. Leopards, cheetahs, and African wild dogs are also affected by lion presence. Lions frequently kill these smaller carnivores' cubs and will steal their kills if given the chance. As a result, these species tend to avoid lion territories and often hunt at different times or in different habitats. This phenomenon, known as mesopredator suppression, is part of what makes lions keystone species, species that have a disproportionately large impact on their environment relative to their abundance. Carrion feeders like vultures, jackals, and marabou storks also benefit from lion activity. Once lions have eaten their fill, these scavengers swoop in to pick clean the remains, recycling nutrients back into the ecosystem. Even insects and microorganisms depend on the aftermath of lion kills. Thus, a single lion hunt can feed dozens of species, not just the pride. The health of lion populations is closely tied to the health of prey populations, which in turn are tied to vegetation, water availability, and climate. This chain of dependency means that changes in rainfall, temperature, or human land use can ripple across the entire food web. As climate change continues to affect rainfall patterns and the timing of migration, lions may face greater challenges in securing food. Droughts can shrink water sources, leading to more concentrated prey movements, but also more competition and disease. Disease itself is a major concern. Lions are susceptible to several pathogens, many of which originate from domestic animals. Canine distemper virus, for instance, jumped from domestic dogs to lions in the Serengeti in the 1990s, killing over a third of the population. Bovine tuberculosis is another disease that can severely impact lion health and reproductive success. These outbreaks are often exacerbated by habitat encroachment and reduced prey diversity, which weaken lion immune systems and increase their exposure to infected carcasses. Human-induced threats continue to dominate the picture. Aside from habitat loss and conflict with livestock farmers, lions face the challenges of illegal wildlife trade and poaching. Lion bones, teeth, claws, and other body parts are in demand in some traditional medicine markets, particularly in Asia. Though less well known than the tiger bone trade, the lion bone trade is growing and poses a serious threat, especially to smaller, fragmented populations. One way conservationists are fighting back is through citizen science and local engagement. In many parts of Africa, community scouts now patrol protected areas, monitor wildlife, and report illegal activities. Programs like Lion Guardians in Kenya have turned former lion hunters into conservation allies. These trained individuals track lions, record their movements, and work with herders to prevent conflict. They also play a cultural role. Reviving respect for lions as part of a heritage rather than adversaries. Technology aids these efforts. GPS collars allow real-time tracking of lions, giving conservationists insight into their behavior, territory use, and conflict hotspots. Drones can monitor large areas for poaching activity or habitat change. Artificial intelligence algorithms can sift through camera trap footage to identify individual lions, helping build more accurate population databases. Another increasingly important concept in lion conservation is genetic integrity. With wild populations fragmented and some lions heavily inbred, preserving genetic diversity has become a high priority. Captive breeding programs, once focused purely on numbers, now emphasize maintaining genetic health and avoiding hybridization. Mixing genes from different subspecies, or even between lions and tigers, as seen in some illegal breeding programs. dilutes the evolutionary distinctiveness of each group. In southern Africa, some reserves have experimented with rewilding lions, moving them from overpopulated parks into areas where lion numbers are low or extinct. This is not a simple task. It requires careful planning to avoid inbreeding, manage territorial dynamics, and ensure the prey base can support new predators. In some cases, introduced lions have adapted quickly, forming new prides and breeding successfully. But success depends on long-term management and community cooperation. Cultural attitudes toward lions are also evolving. In many African nations, lions are no longer simply seen as threats or trophies. They are national treasures and symbols of pride. Films, documentaries, and social media have played a role in this transformation. A lion like Cecil, whose death in a trophy hunt sparked global outrage, became a catalyst for policy change and international dialogue about ethics, conservation, and justice. Youth education is a powerful tool in this shift. Conservation organizations now run school programs that teach children not only about wildlife, but also about the role of ecosystems and the importance of coexistence. Some programs incorporate traditional stories and local languages, blending cultural identity with environmental stewardship. These efforts aim to build a generation that sees lions not as relics of the past, but as vital, living neighbors worth protecting. Even in literature and art, the lion's image continues to evolve. While older depictions often emphasized power, conquest, or male dominance, newer narratives are beginning to reflect the reality of the lioness as the provider and caretaker. Female-focused documentaries, like BBC's Dynasties, have highlighted the complexities of lioness life, the sacrifices, intelligence, and sisterhood that drive pride survival. This changing lens invites a deeper respect for the entire pride dynamic, not just the mythologized male. The science of lion cognition is still in its infancy, but emerging research suggests that lions are capable of learning, remembering, and even recognizing individual human voices. In experiments, lions have responded differently to the recordings of familiar people versus strangers, indicating a level of auditory memory and awareness that was once considered exclusive to more intelligent species like elephants or dolphins. Such findings open new doors to understanding lion behavior and perhaps even communication strategies that could prevent conflict. Despite all this progress, the numbers remain sobering. Lion populations have declined by over 40% in the past few decades. Today, fewer than 20,000 wild lions remain in Africa. In many countries where they once thrived, like Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, and parts of Central Africa, they are functionally extinct. The remaining strongholds are increasingly isolated, fragmented, and under pressure. Without concerted, coordinated action, even these may vanish within a few generations. But hope is not lost. There are success stories, places where lions are recovering. In Namibia, community conservancies have helped stabilize populations. In Botswana, large protected areas and government support have created safe zones where lions can roam and breed. In India, the Gir forest population of Asiatic lions has grown steadily, prompting discussions about expanding their range into other regions. A key lesson from these successes is that conservation cannot work in isolation. It requires partnerships between governments, scientists, local communities, and international organizations. It requires listening to the people who live with lions every day, understanding their concerns, and working together to create solutions that benefit both humans and wildlife. What can individuals do to help lions? For starters, support reputable conservation organizations. Choose ecotourism companies that practice ethical wildlife viewing and invest in local communities. Advocate for stronger wildlife protection laws in your country, especially around imports and trophy hunting. Avoid buying products made from wild animals, and educate others about the importance of predators in ecosystems. Even sharing stories, documentaries, or videos like this one can make a difference. The more people who understand lions as complex, essential, and endangered beings, the more power we have collectively to protect them. In the end, the story of the lion is the story of wild nature itself: majestic, brutal, intricate, and awe-inspiring. It's a story about power, yes, but also about vulnerability, about cooperation and conflict, about legacy, adaptation, and survival. If lions vanish from the wild, it won't just be the loss of a species. It will be the silencing of one of Earth's oldest and most profound voices. So when we speak of lions, when we tell their stories, show their images, and teach our children their names, let us do so not just with admiration but with responsibility. For their roar may fade, but the echoes of our choices will remain. To fully grasp the lion's place in our world, we must venture deeper into the relationship between time, evolution, and the subtle intricacies of survival in wild ecosystems. Lions have been shaped by millions of years of natural selection. Every element of their biology, from their retractable claws to their powerful jaw structure, has been finely tuned to suit their role as apex predators in open habitats. Yet even as evolution prepared them for dominance in nature, it did not prepare them for the pace and scale of modern human expansion. This discrepancy between the rhythm of nature and the speed of civilization is perhaps the central tension in the lion's story today. Fossil records suggest that lions once roamed across much of Europe, Asia, and the Americas. These prehistoric lions, such as the cave lion, Panthera leospelea, were massive predators that lived during the Ice Age. Cave paintings in France and other parts of Europe depict lions with no manes, moving in groups much like modern African lions. These drawings, some dating back 30,000 years, show that humans have had a relationship, whether it be fear, reverence, or curiosity, with lions since the dawn of our species. Lions are even believed to have crossed into the Americas via the Bering Land Bridge, eventually giving rise to the now extinct American lion, Panthera atrox, one of the largest feline species ever to exist. This once global distribution has now shrunk dramatically. The African lion's range today is a mere fraction of what it once was. Outside of Africa, only a single wild population of Asiatic lions survives, confined to the Gir forest in western India. This population, numbering just over 600 individuals, has been the focus of intense conservation efforts by the Indian government and various NGOs. The Gir lions are genetically distinct and possess unique traits, such as shorter, sparser manes and more pronounced belly folds, making their preservation crucial not only for the species, but for biodiversity as a whole. However, the concentration of this population in one small region makes it highly vulnerable to disease, natural disaster, or poaching. Recognizing this risk, there have been ongoing discussions about establishing a second free-ranging population of Asiatic lions in another Indian state, though this plan has faced political and logistical challenges. The importance of spreading out a population is not just a theoretical concern, it is essential for long-term survival. Genetic bottlenecks, which occur when a population becomes too small or isolated, can lead to inbreeding, reduced fertility, and greater susceptibility to disease. Genetic studies also reveal subtle but important differences between lion populations across Africa. Lions in West Africa, for example, are genetically closer to Asiatic lions than to those in East or Southern Africa. This complexity has prompted conservationists to recommend treating different regional populations as distinct conservation units. Doing so ensures that efforts are tailored to the unique needs and pressures of each group, rather than applying a one-size-fits-all model. Conservation must also consider the ecological context in which lions live. Not all lion habitats are alike. In the Kalahari, lions endure dry, open deserts with sparse vegetation and extreme temperature fluctuations. In Botswana's Okavango Delta, they navigate swampy islands and seasonal floods. In Ethiopia's Bale Mountains, a small, isolated population of lions has adapted to forested highlands. These variations affect everything from hunting techniques to pride size to reproductive rates. Understanding these local adaptations can help scientists manage lions more effectively in the wild. One fascinating example of behavioral adaptation is seen in the lions of the Tsavo region in Kenya. Here, male lions are famously known for their lack of manes. Though early stories exaggerated their ferocity, particularly during the construction of the Kenya-Uganda Railway, when two lions reportedly killed dozens of workers, modern science has provided more grounded explanations. The absence of manes in Tsavo lions is likely due to a combination of genetics, temperature regulation, and possibly even testosterone levels. It's another reminder that the standard image of a lion, a golden male with a black-tipped mane roaring across the plains, is just one version of a much more diverse reality. Diversity within lion populations is key to their resilience, and that diversity includes social structure. While we tend to think of lions as living in large, stable prides, the reality can be far more fluid. In areas with low prey density, lions may live in small groups or even as solitary individuals. In some cases, coalitions of males may roam together without associating with any particular pride. These variations are influenced by food availability, human disturbance, and population density. By observing these different models of lion society, researchers gain insights into the flexibility and intelligence of the species. Another emerging area of study is lion personality. Just as humans differ in temperament, lions show individual variations in boldness, aggression, sociability, and curiosity. Some lions are more prone to exploring new territories, while others remain within the safety of known areas. These traits can influence reproductive success, survival, and interactions with humans. Wildlife managers can use this information when deciding which lions to relocate, reintroduce, or collar for monitoring purposes. Understanding these nuances is particularly important in regions where lions and humans live side by side. Coexistence strategies must be tailored not only to human needs, but to lion behavior. In northern Tanzania, for example, researchers have worked with Maasai communities to develop early warning systems that alert herders to lion movements. In exchange, the community agrees not to retaliate against lions when livestock are lost. These agreements are rooted in mutual respect and a recognition of shared space rather than separation. The concept of shared landscapes is gaining traction in conservation circles. Rather than isolating wildlife in fenced-off reserves, the goal is to create living landscapes where both humans and animals can thrive. This involves land use planning, corridor creation, sustainable agriculture, and governance systems that give local people a voice in conservation decisions. In such systems, lions are not just protected, they are integrated into the social and economic fabric of the region. Tourism can play a powerful role in this integration, but it must be managed with care. Over-tourism can lead to habitat degradation, stress for animals, and displacement of local people. Responsible ecotourism, on the other hand, supports conservation financially, raises awareness, and empowers local communities. Tour guides, rangers, and lodge operators become ambassadors for wildlife. When tourists see a lioness hunt at dawn or hear the low rumble of a male's territorial call, they're not just witnessing nature. They're participating in a shared narrative that connects species, continents, and generations. This narrative extends into the arts and media. Lions have inspired painters, poets, filmmakers, and game developers. From cave walls to 3D animation, the lion's form has been sculpted and reimagined countless times. These representations matter. They shape public perception, influence funding decisions, and fuel both empathy and misconception. That's why it's important to balance dramatization with education. A lion is not a villain, a saint, or a monarch. It is a wild animal, operating under the pressures of hunger, competition, and instinct. Yet within that wildness lies a kind of truth. Lions remind us of something elemental, that life is both beautiful and harsh, that strength does not guarantee safety, and that community, however fragile, is essential for survival. In the face of environmental uncertainty and technological acceleration, lions remain a powerful symbol of the earth as it once was, and could still be. As we look ahead, conservationists are focusing on three key strategies for the future of lions: protection of key strongholds, restoration of habitat corridors, and reconciliation of human-wildlife conflict. Protecting strongholds means ensuring that existing populations in places like Kruger National Park, the Serengeti, and the Okavango remain secure, genetically diverse, and well managed. This requires funding, anti-poaching efforts, and cross-border cooperation. Restoring habitat corridors allows lions to move between these strongholds, reducing the risk of inbreeding and enabling natural behaviors. Corridors can be as simple as patches of savanna between farms, or as complex as wildlife overpasses across highways. They need legal protection, community support, and careful design to be effective. Reconciliation with people means more than just preventing livestock predation. It means rethinking how humans view wild animals, not as obstacles or trophies, but as neighbors and participants in shared ecosystems. This philosophical shift is perhaps the hardest to achieve, but also the most necessary. The lion, then, is not just a species to be saved. It is a teacher, a mirror, and a messenger. It teaches us about power, yes, but also about cooperation, vulnerability, and the costs of dominance. It reflects back our values, our priorities, and our responsibilities. And it carries a message from the wild places of Earth, a message that says, you are not alone. You are part of something larger. And what you do, what you choose, matters. If we fail the lion, we fail more than just one animal. We fail the ecosystems that depend on it, the cultures that revere it, and the future generations who may never hear its roar in the wild. But if we succeed, if we listen, act, and protect, then the lion's story does not end in silence. It continues, richer and louder, a call that reverberates through time. And perhaps that's what the lion really is. Not a king of a jungle it does not inhabit, but a guardian of balance, a keeper of memory, and a challenge to us all. Will we rise to meet that challenge? In the end, the lion's story is not just about survival, it's about legacy. A legacy carved into the landscapes of Africa and etched into human culture. These animals are more than symbols. They are keystones, guardians, and reminders of a world that still holds wildness and wonder. Whether their future is written in extinction or endurance depends on us. So let their roar not be an echo of the past, but a voice that carries into the future, fierce, free, and forever wild.